Axe now about to fall on something that was very cherishable for the ex-royals known as Harry and Meghan. As ever, let me explain. Neil Sean here in the very heart of London, and as ever, nice to have your company. I hope you're all keeping well. I don't know if you saw this particular story that I want to share with you, by the way. It's for the once esteemed Oxford Dictionary, and they've decided this time around to include some very woke words. That's right, it angered many people. And then, of course, it's all about inclusivity and all that sort of stuff. You know, the ridiculous things about this being more than one gender, all that sort of stuff. You know, it's fascinating, isn't it? This particular actor, which we told you about, Eddie Izzard, there's a picture here of him now. I've met him on a number of occasions. He recently tried to become a local councillor, but now he's back on stage in New York doing a one-man play, one-woman play, whatever he wants to call himself, but apparently was left bemused as to why he didn't win the council seat up in the Harden North of Sheffield in South Yorkshire. I have no idea either, really, Eddie, you know. What a beauty to have on the council panel. How could it possibly go wrong? You couldn't make this stuff up, could you? A little bit like, of course, the Harry and Meghan show, which has really become just something of fodder, isn't it? You know, I mean, it is becoming ridiculous when you think. But you see, with Harry and Meghan, they're not very bright in the business world. I mean, you know, we've seen endless managers, assistants, people working for them disappear. And the bottom line is this, you know, they're really struggling. They're starting out in their startup, but, you know, neither one really understands business. Prince Harry's never done business in his life, you know. He's always been looked after by people. Hence, he's sort of mollycoddled and, you know, tantrumy when he doesn't get his own way, as we saw in the documentary. But now there are bigger problems because it looks like Netflix in the new year could be looking to streamline, as ever, we have to say allegedly, once again. And you know what that means in television terms or in any term of any company? The axe, you know. The bottom line is they're looking to save money. The reason being, according to a very good source, is although the show did very well for them, it didn't necessarily increase subscribers. All the detail that you want is in the analytics, and the analytics are to live and die by now. We used to call them ratings, but you know, the bottom line is if people are not watching or subscribing, then you know you're not really value. Now, according to a very good source within inside the Netflix camp, they've got what they wanted. You know, the bottom line is they can now not get much more publicity from the ex-royals. Everybody knows Netflix exists. Thanks to them, it's up to them now if they wish to continue to take up a subscription or indeed not bother. What's interesting here, though, is now they've got that documentary, the full fun factor, what they wanted. Are they really interested in something like The Dismissive Pearl? Clearly not. They dumped that. What about the Invictus Games documentary? Well, that's still ongoing, but it's yet to be given the absolute final pass. So it's going to be very testing times within the next few months for Harry and Meghan to see, in fact, if they can continue to sustain the contract. Because people say, oh, you know, they've got this 100 million contract. They haven't got a 100 million contract. They have money to deliver programming. So far, they've delivered 6 episodes all about themselves. What they've now got to find, which was the original idea and remit in their original contract, was to make programming that is family inclusive, engaging and educational. Could you call that documentary truly that? And that's what Netflix bosses are now seriously looking into. And it all remains to be seen if that deal remains in place in 2023. As ever, when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.